Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Gone, written by Shane Watson. Impossible. Fleet Commander Null gouged a deep groove into the conference table with his rending claw. Commander, I would have to say that while it is highly improbable, the evidence is against impossibility. Political advisor Grun laid her far larger rending claw on the commander's shoulder. It is up to the fleet to figure out where they've gone, while you determine the fleet's response. But the entire forest, gone, disappeared in the time we spent in transit from the real space translation. Noel swung his tail across the bench and dropped to sit with a heavy thump. Grun's claw maintained its position through the move. The intimacy of her claw so near his throat, and the way she now stood over his slumped figure, reminded him of who was in charge. She clicked a small device, and the view on the wall-sized screen changed into a split view. On one side, a lush forest with a few well-maintained roads and an uncountable mass of biological material, living plants and creatures, and the enemy, hiding like animals in the trees. The other side showed the same area of the moon, but there was nothing but a scar cut deep into the land, exposing the bedrock that had been far beneath the soil of the forest. Everything above the bedrock was gone. Not a speck of biological matter was left behind the boundaries of the former forest. Remind me, Commander, what were the fleet's orders for this expedition? Are you testing me, advisor? Null sighed. Eliminate all traces of the enemy from the inhabited body orbiting the system's lone gas giant planet. If possible, bring back live samples and any interesting technology. It would seem that the enemy has achieved the minimum goal for you already, she said with a laugh. Now, I know you're testing me, he said. You know as well as I that, if possible, means as long as I draw breath. That needs to be my goal. Grun clicked the device again, and before the view switched to a series of images from all over the moon, everywhere there had been a settlement of the enemy had been gouged out to bedrock. What had been agricultural fields were stripped as well. She brushed the scales of his cheek with the back of her rending claw. Tell me, Commander, how would you accomplish the same results? Noel sat up a little straighter. I can only think of two methods, one ridiculous and the other wholly unrealistic. It relies on tech that doesn't exist. Humor me, Grun said with a purr. Start with a more realistic one. When they transformed the moon to make it habitable, they began by placing lifting plates on the bedrock. Then, once they brought in the soil and water and atmosphere and so on, they built only above the lifters. When we entered the system, the lifters raised in groups to be picked up in the atmosphere by some sort of transport. Having said it, Noel blinked in annoyance. It sounds even more ridiculous when spoken. No, it's fine, dear Commander. Grun walked around the room, her tail swaying in lazy arcs. What was the unrealistic one? Teleportation, he huffed at the thought. Some sort of magic technology that allows moving matter from one place to another through some dimension outside of space-time we understand. Both excellent ideas, Commander. Grun stood before the changing images on the wall screen, as though studying them. Well, the lifters sound more plausible. I'd rather like the teleportation angle. Imagine what the Queendom could do with that. Even with that, Nell said, they would need to have transported it all out of system somehow. Well, once you figure out where they might have gone, Grun said, as she approached and lifted Nell's chin with the tip of her rending claw, we can go get our samples. Yes, advisor. The proximity alarm sounded, and he spun towards the door, leaving a shadow cut along the bottom of his chin from her sharpened claw. He tapped the control panel near the door as the blood welled along the cut. Report! Commander, lone enemy vessel sighted around the far side of the gas giant. Heavy transport. We have the warp trace from there, First Officer said over the comms. 18 possible routes. How long to narrow it down? Hard to say, Commander. It could take as long as... Never mind, he interrupted. It's one ship, we're a fleet. Divide us up and make haste for all 18 possible blue points. Don't forget, he wants some of them alive. Yes, Commander. Grun ran her thumb along the cut on his chin, collecting the blood. She licked it off and made a noise as if savoring it. Don't make me regret the Queen's decision to give some males command roles. You know I won't, advisor, he said as the flagship transited into warp space. As the last ship warped out of the system, Senna let out a breath she hadn't been aware she was holding. I can't believe that worked. Well, keep the jamming running for a few hours more. Just to be certain, Triss shoved her hands into the pockets of her jumpsuit. I just hope the crew on the honeypot are going to be okay. Senna typed a command and scanned the results on the monitor. The fleet left 18 different directions. Gives them better odds, I guess. Senna laughed. The Velko Queendom has been trying to take humans alive for an entirety of the war. I kind of feel bad for the ship that tries to board the honeypot. Yeah. Dumb lizards versus a cargo ship full of Marines. Still, you're worried about your brother, Senna patted Triss's leg. He's going to be fine. It just feels different when it's a war fleet rather than some pirates. That's what we're trained for. Senna raised the sleeve of her T-shirt to show her Marine's tattoo. He's a good kid and a good Marine. He'll be fine. Senna looked out the window at the fields what lay between the outpost and the forest. Hectares of specifically engineered crops for survival on low gravity and low light worlds like this moon. The forest beyond was populated with animals, plants, bacteria, and fungus, also engineered for the environment. What started this stupid war anyway? She asked. Weren't we doing an expanded trade deal with Belcor just a couple of years ago? You don't watch the news, do you? Triss huffed. Queen Gret died. Berg took over as the new queen. First thing she did was update the official religion, declaring all warm bloods as evil. Second thing she did was declare war on all of the endothermic species. Humans just happen to be the closest. They won't survive without a regime change, Senna said. How so? If a coup or assassination doesn't take out the queen, the war will wear them down until their entire economy and society collapse. Triss hummed. Yeah, we're way too good at wars of attrition. Not just that, Senna said. They didn't bother to look with their own eyes. They trust so much in their over-engineered hyper-complex technology that they couldn't bother to look down and see that their scanners were showing them a fake image. What did it look like? Senna called up the model that had been fed to the Valcor ships. Those are the cutaway views that were generated for the geologic survey, aren't they? Exactly. Just without the infrastructure overlays. The women discussed it over coffee as they waited for an update from the honeypot. End of story. Story number 2. Raising Hell, written by New VS 8 at NVM. Who dares summon Azrael, the lord of the underworld, bane of the... Hell no. Yeah, that's right, dipship. Sheila, for the last time, I made the transfer. It hasn't been credited into your account. This is not the doing of demonic forces. This is the evil of the bank. I didn't summon you to talk about the pittance you dare call child support. Then why do you drag me into your 5th layer, callous snake? It's about your daughter. What about her? She started seeing this no-good boy, and... Can you talk some sense into her? Spawn of a goat. I vanquish armies. I wipe civilizations. What makes you think I have the power to imbue reason into a teenager's head? I know you're at least 2.5 inches of man. Come on. Time to act like one. This was not the pact, Sheila. You summoned me to bestow upon you a hellspawn. I did. My job is done. Tell it to my lawyer. You are not unleashing that plague on hell again. Then chop chop, red arsehole. Fuck, equal rights, shared responsibility, wicked woke witches. What happened to the simplicity of cursing one's crops, having unfaithful husbands before with syphilis? May I come in? Dad? Hey, Princess of Darkness. Love what you did to the room. Yeah, I got a bit into K-pop last year. You got taste, kid. I love those guys. You wouldn't believe the orgies they put together. You need to tell me about it. Maybe later. How are you doing? Great. You know that teacher that got me a C- last semester? Yes. Somehow his mom got added into his group chat. That's my girl. Your mom tells me you're seeing a boy. Oh, yeah. He's great. He likes all my posts, always leaves a comment. Your mom doesn't seem to like him. I know. That's a plus. I can get behind that feeling. He sends me the sweetest vids. Here, let me show you. Oh, that's Trevor. You know him? Absolutely. Great kid. This one is going far. You got to deal with him or something? Sorry, Princess. Client demon confidentiality. That's a yes. What did he ask? All of them bitches? No. Nothing like that. Let's say he's more of a career-driven fella. Like he wants to be rich. Such a simple-minded creature would never be worthy of my little mistress of shadows. He wants power, might, the strength to crush his enemies and turn the weak-minded into his minions. So, he wants to be a politician. Princess, please. I'm a demon. You know your dad wouldn't go so low as to deal with that kind. Sorry, Dad. It's fine, Princess. No, this boy has drive with an ambition, the will to seize what he wants. You know how his bestie did that bitch from school? Yeah. Took me a while to get over it. I taught him that. Keep the meanest MFer around by his side, and take notes on all the dirty she sweeps under the rug. I thought I was the meanest motherfucker around. You, Princess, are the fire of hell, the plague of men, darkness taken human form. That bitch is just mean. So Trevor will be strolling with Steph as he steps on heads to the top? Not at all. That girl can be useful, but she's no queen material, not like my princess. I can see Trevor ahead of the pharmaceutical company, an eternally pre-profit AI startup, maybe even Nestle. And you, by his side, striking from the shadows, bringing down your enemies, crushing your haters. Like Steph, you mean? You don't need to be like anyone else, sweetie. You're perfect just the way you are. But you could learn a thing or two from Stephanie. Dad, I think I want to talk to Trevor. Great! I'll leave you to it then. Summon me later. I want to hear all about it. I'll keep the coat ready. Bye, Dad. Love you, Princess. Hey, Mom, I broke up with Trevor. I knew your father would help you see the light. End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Caspar Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.